What's up, y'all? Down south 77 here again, and this is 3 Star Draw. This is a channel where I talk about G.I. Joe classified and classified related things. This is an adult channel, so I like to put that out front because I don't ever know what I'm going to slip in by accident or on purpose. I do it on purpose sometimes. So you're forewarned. So I'd like to welcome you back to the channel if you've been here before, and if you haven't, I'd like to welcome you to the channel. You watch, you like what you're seeing, I'd appreciate you giving me a thumbs up, maybe subscribe, see if I can come out with some new funny stuff, some new reviews. Never know what I might come up with. So today we're going to be taking a look at number 106, Dreadnok Buzzer. Buzzer is my favorite Dreadnok. Not just my favorite Dreadnok, Buzzer is one of my favorite characters in the Joe series. I've always liked the figure. I like chainsaws. I don't know. So in '85, when those figures come out, I went to Toys R Us, and my mom, I think, had taken me to Toys R Us because I had a pocket full of allowance, and I don't know if I knew new figures might be coming out. It didn't matter. You always wanted to go look at Joe's anyway. So we went in Toys R Us, and of course, you walk down the aisle, and it's like, oh, and there's light beaming down and shit because Toys R Us's Joe figure section was like an 8 or 12 foot section, at least at the one I was at. It was huge, and then they had like 3 shelves of vehicles up underneath it. But there was nothing like walking into Toys R Us or wherever, but especially Toys R Us, and seeing all of the new figures on the pegs. And you just stood there slack jawed, like, I don't even know where to start because you hadn't seen them. And in those days, there was no name only reveal shit that for a figure you're going to get in a year. There wasn't a render of, man, that looks great. I hope that's what the figure actually looks like. Wasn't none of that. You went in and you saw figures, and there's the new figures for the year. So I did what everybody did. I think I saw Torch first, and I pulled him off and was like, oh my God, look at this dude. He's awesome. He looks like a biker. And then you flip it over and you see all of the new figures at the top of the card for the figures that were coming out, and you started picking out which ones that you thought looked cool and you wanted to start hunting down. So that day, I spent $10.81 worth of allowance on the Dreadnoks. Went over to my cousin. We started playing G.I. Joes at his house, and I promptly lost the hose to Ripper's Jaws of Life. Never saw it again. We never found it. It was a sad day, but it was not the it wasn't the last time it happened. Not with Real American Hero, and not with Classified either. But I found that stuff. But opening them figures up and stuff just going everywhere. That's one tradition Hasbro's kept alive, trying to pop it out of the trays. That's the only thing, that's the only bad part about the window packaging is trying to pop that stuff out from the back. But hey, at least we know that's what's really in there. So back to number 106, Dreadnok Buzzer today. I did not order him early from BBTS like some did. My cousin, being one of those people, he went ahead and got him. I have Amazon and I have Pulse, and I did not want to pay for shipping, and I did not want to pay $1 markup in patient tax just to have him early. So even though he's one of my favorite characters, I waited, and Pulse still hasn't released him yet, and everywhere else is out of him. So I ordered one on Amazon and did the thing where you can go ahead and order it. Like, you bought it, you've ordered it, and they'll send it to you when it comes in. But in the meantime, everywhere else was out, and I wasn't paying above retail for a new figure. So I put a post on the Facebook group and found the hero that I didn't know I needed. Zen Pimentel. Brother, I hope I'm saying your last name right, because pronunciation is not usually one of my strong suits. But we all know him as Baldy Locks. Baldy Locks saw my post, and he had an extra buzzer, and we worked the trade out, and he hooked me up. So wanted to say thank you to him for swapping me and getting a buzzer in my hands. Then the next day, I got an email from Amazon saying my item was shipping soon or had shipped, and I didn't know what item because it's almost Christmas. You know how much shit I've got in that queue on Amazon right now, including Joe's and whatever. So I looked and it was Buzzer. I ordered one there and I was going to cancel whichever one of the two, Pulse or Amazon, shipped him. So I'm going to have an extra Buzzer myself. But I would not have Buzzer if it weren't for Baldy. So I appreciate it, homie. Good dude to deal with. So let's get into him. I've seen him. My cousin brought his open and we opened his up. Of course, didn't do a video, wasn't my figure. So I'm going to check him out. Everybody's seen a Buzzer review. Most of you probably has him, but it's time for me to do mine. So let's soldier on and check him out. All right, so there he is. There is Mr. Buzzer. And I have some fantastic visual aids back there in the back. I usually like to set up something that's related to the figure of the character, and I've got another surprise one that I'm going to show here in just a minute if I don't forget, because I can't have it in frame right now. So let's go ahead and, man, he didn't want to come out of there, did he? All right, moment of truth. Oh, these damn things. All right. Well, he's loose, but so, all right, there it goes. Let there be light. I have a little slightly different setup here. You may not be able to tell in the video. I hope you can. The lovely Purple Elf was able to acquire me a much bigger table that gives me a lot more room when I do this part. So I was able to get some more light and have a bigger space back here. I don't. It may not come through, but it is much better for me. So I hope it translates to where everything's not as bunched up and close up. That's really what I was going for. So there we go. Looks great. A lot of these, all of these look great in black and white. I just, as always, I'll always say I'd like to see a splash of color there. It's just, I just think it would just set it off even more. But they look fantastic as they are. So we're going to set that right over there. Go ahead and get out his weapons crate. Yeah, we know that's terrible. So, all right, get the stuff out, and as usual, I'm going to mute you just a second so we don't have to hear all of the Hasbro rolling papers. So give me just a second. All right, I don't like having to do that, but I also don't like hearing that crinkly sound. So there he is. There is Buzzer. He looks good. I mean, I'm happy with this itineration of him. He's got like got a little bit of a scowl there. Got chest hair, ponytail, awesome. I would have liked to have seen this articulated, like or where it can move, like we're supposedly going to get with the retro Scarlet. But I, as I've said, that's one more thing that's potential to break. So it would be nice, but it's a trade off. Do we need it? Do we not need it? So there's this tattoo. It is a kind of a greenish color. He's got arm hair there, so he has the new pads or the thigh pads, or not knee pads. Here are the knee pads that actually don't make a whole lot of sense for this character, honestly, but they're doing what they got to do. So he's flexing pretty good. So let's grab. This is my original OG Buzzer from that day at Toys R Us in 1985. Did a really, really faithful recreation of this figure. It's a nice translation. The thigh pads, this is more along the lines of what somebody running a chainsaw professionally would probably wear, these Kevlar pads. Whereas here, I mean, it's a cool detail and we can tell what they are. They just, there's no buckle. They don't really make a whole lot of sense. It was the 80s. These could just be some crazy ass jeans. But the tattoo there, it's pretty much, it's a update of the same tattoo. It's amazing that this buzzer is not absolutely destroyed. He's very loose, and I don't think I have his chainsaw. It may be in my bag, but I did not dump the bag out because it seems like every time I dump that bag or fish through it, another O-ring snaps. So, you know, every time an O-ring bag goes, you snap an O-ring on Joe's. So there is his chainsaw on the new one. It's a little bit bent as we're used to. I think it'll straighten up. I like the saw. There's been a lot of talk about it. It looks nice. It is apparently a battery powered saw now, which is fine. They're out there. The one thing on this chainsaw that bothered me, and I don't remember if the original is that way or not, was this right here, where this is a sprocket. It's on the end of a saw that helps the chain turn, is what that is. This is really flared out. So if you were using this to cut wood as a chainsaw is intended, you would never get anything cut with the end of the saw. Because the chain's gonna go through the wood, but this is gonna hit. But as we know, Buzzer is not cutting any wood with his saw. So see if I need to. He's moderately tight joints. See how that elbow is. I would rather have them tighter than floppy. All day long. Give me tight rather than floppy. Floppy and sloppy. So there he is. He looks good. He stands well. He's got the split fingers that they seem to be doing with everybody. I don't mind it. I've seen a lot of people that don't like it, but it does allow for more posability. It doesn't stop you from being able to hold a trigger with the trigger finger, and it would allow people, like these are the Tomax and Zaymot knife hands. This will allow characters to also do that, like Tomax and Zaymot do. So I don't mind it so much. I don't. Do we need it on everybody? No, but I don't mind it because, like I said, you can do more scenes, more poses. You can have everybody's not just having to hold the knife in the straight up position or in the down stabbing position. Oh, have a little trouble getting him to hold the saw, but close enough. You can fool around with it, heat that up, and you're not going to have any problem. I'll heat him up. I should have done this video earlier in the day because I had a bunch of guys in a pot on the stove heating up some of the new figures. So, I'm a lumberjacker, baby. So, see that? He doesn't sound all floppy. But that looks cool. I mean, there he is. I don't know why he's got those glasses on in that. I just now noticed that. But I guess he does. He does over here too. I guess they run out of black ink. His standard articulation. I would have liked to seen some more paint apps here on the straps, but I'm not going to fuss much over that. His watch, I don't think, is removable. So there's his saw. Let's take a look at his other stuff that he's got. So I like this. This is an update on the original chain and sickle that he come with. Practicality wise, using this in person, you're probably going to wind up sending yourself to the ER. But we're talking about toys and action figures, so That's badass, and I like how it looks like he's swinging it, like it's already in motion and getting ready to yank the slack out of it. I do like it, and I really like it because it's something the original figure come with. So he's got his knife, his standard issue nondescript knife. It does have some paint apps on it, which is cool. I am all for knives that have some paint apps on them. Even though there are black cold steel knives, there's just about any kind of knife you can think of, it's actually out there. So the colored stuff doesn't bother me too bad unless it looks completely cartoony. He's got a pistol. Looks like it's probably, oh, it looks like that's probably a little 9 millimeter, maybe a 380, something like that. Does have the tape on it, which is cool because these guys are outlaws. And somewhere, if you looked at this gun with the magnifying glass, if they were putting that much detail in them, you'd probably find that that does not have a serial number on it, because that's what people do, is file off serial numbers and wrap the handle in tape to increase the grip, and because it generally will not leave fingerprints. So here's this thing. A lot of people don't seem to like it. I think it's cool. It is a straight up dreadnought weapon. This is exactly the kind of shit they would engineer to do destruction with. That's the whole point of dreadnoughts, is to do this. That's all they want. Mayhem, straight up just destroying stuff because it's fun. Um, so this coming with him, it's kind of a it's kind of a silly gimmicky weapon. He also comes with this, so you can't really knock this too bad. Mine is surprisingly straight. There, it's got a little bend to it. I've seen some that are over like that, but no matter what you put on this guy and his weapons that he comes with, no matter what you do, he's gonna look good. Like, all of his weapons look cool, and they're very dreadnoughty weapons. I wish I could find his chainsaw. I just take a little time and gently pull my figures out and maybe be able to find it. But he's got the ab crunch there with the ratchet system, not loose at all, which is good. Because that's not, with this system, if they're a little bit floppy, it's not bad. I guess I got lucky with my Firefly. He's got a little play in him, but it doesn't affect the posability. So they updated his belt. And did you guys have one of those belts in the 80s with the square stud things on it? I had one. And they were, 1985 is about right for those things. A lot of people had them. So there's his cod piece, and I'm just going to say that this is probably also Kevlar like the pads. It's a little bit different color, black, but in my mind, he's wearing a Kevlar cod piece because he's using a chainsaw and he don't want to cut his dick off. And I don't really blame him. I try to be careful with that when I use a chainsaw myself. So his hands are, he does not have the super kind of gummy hands. So I noticed when I put this in his hand, when I was bending it, it did start getting the white flecks on it from bending that. So I don't like that. So this is the part of the knife throwing hands. We should not be seeing that in there from me bending his hands. Now, yeah, heat his hands up, I know, and I will, but that's all. I've put two things in this hand, and I'm already seeing the white crease in there. I don't know why some of these guys have the gummy hands that form right back like they should, and some of them are like this. So I'm going to heat that up, see if it makes a difference. But that's the equivalent of breaking off thumbs from trying to hold weapons in the Arai line. We don't need this. This is a step backwards. I don't mind the split hand for poses, but not at the cost of losing these two fingers on the figure, because you'll never be able to hold anything. And if you move your figures around in photos and stuff as much as I do, this is going to be a problem. So design, yes, but you need to put some more solvent in the plastic, or I don't know what. So let's talk about the glasses. You can't open this Buzzer figure without talking about the glasses that do not fit on his head. If they're straight up like that, they look fine. They're not supposed to be glasses. They're supposed to be welding goggles. They're not Oakley's. So they do fit. They just don't stay. So it takes nothing to knock these off. If you can get them on there, they look good. And if you don't move him and you get them on there, they look great. But the second you go moving this guy, they should have just straight up made them goggles instead of giving him the glasses earpiece. I don't know if it was because they were afraid it would interfere with the ponytail, but I don't think it would have if this had been a strap. It looks good. I'm probably going to try to figure out a way to keep mine on without super gluing them. Sticky tack's going to show. Somebody give me some pointers on something that might not show without straight up having to glue them. Although I would almost, if I could get them where they need to be before the glue sets, I'd almost rather just glue them, but I just don't want to. I don't like putting permanent adhesive stuff on there. So they look good. It's lucky he looks good without them. It's just we've never seen Buzzer without glasses. I do like that style better than this style of the glasses. He's drawn either way. He's drawn with round glasses and he's drawn with sunglasses like this. So either could have worked. But there he is. I do like the figure. He is, as I say, my favorite Dreadnok. The only real disappointment here is the hand plastic and of course the glasses. Everything else is great for what they're trying to convey with a Dreadnok figure. So he's good. He is not as good as Ripper because Ripper is flawless. Ripper is the only 5 Yeehaw review I've done so far. Buzzer, as much as I love the dude, love the figure and the character, he's not anywhere near a 5. He's not horrible. I'm gonna give him a 4 Yeehaw. Buzzer gets a 4 only because of my love for the nostalgia for the figures, and they nailed the accessories other than these. The hands I can live with. The plastic, it's a crapshoot on what kind of plastic we're getting with classifieds these days. So I can't really chalk that up to anything wrong with the figure itself. But he does what Buzzer needs to do, in my opinion. I don't see him being able to ride a motorcycle and use this like he could with this. But also, for a chainsaw, this is a whole lot less practical than this would be. So, what are you going to do? So, there's one thing that I want to talk about with Buzzer, and I haven't seen anybody discuss it, and I'm sure somebody has at some point. But, we have another big figure that's coming out pretty soon, and I don't know if anybody has put it in a video yet, but there's only one thing I do not like about the character of Buzzer, but I guess I can look past it. It's just not cool. So anybody remember the issue 79? I cannot wait to recreate this when we get Mutt and Junkyard. Yeah, remember that? I'm not a fan of anybody that doesn't like dogs, and I don't know if Buzzer just don't like dogs or Junkyard just pissed him off. I also love Cobra Commander, and he kicked the dog one time. So I guess it's Cobra. They're bad guys, but I can't wait to get Mutt in Junkyard so I can have Mutt getting his retribution for this cover that happened an issue or two later. So there he is, folks. There is G.I. Joe Classified Buzzer. What do you think about him? Most everybody's seen him. He's a good figure other than these, but I love Dreadnoks, so I'll figure out something to do with the glasses. But until next time, guys, we will see you back again, I hope, on 3-Star Draw. If you like it, give me that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, tell your friends. Y'all come back now, you hear?